Shalom. First and foremost, I want to begin by giving all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh Ba'ashem and Yahushua Ba'ashem Rakakwadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone that tells the truth, and much respect to the Akim out there laboring in his work, and peace and salutations to the hopefully elect that are scattered across the four corners of the earth. To you I say, Shalom. So yeah, this lesson right here is going to be a little different. This one's going to be based upon a dream that I had, in which from that dream, I woke up like 10 seconds before my alarm clock went off to go to work around 4:29 a.m. on October the 5th. And I don't have a lot of dreams, so this one right here, really stuck out because, I remember it vividly. And I do take it as a sign of what's to come. And the fact that the Lord is very pissed off. The Lord is very angry right now, So the crazy thing about this dream is that when I woke up, because I got random screensavers that pop up on my phone when I turn it on, and it changes every time I turn it on into different, landscapes as such. And the first two times I turned it on, I saw this pic right here with two dead trees in a desert, okay? In which through the spirit, I think this represents the southern kingdom and the northern kingdom, right? Judah and Ephraim, in which this represents the 2/3 of our people who are not bearing fruit, but they're good for nothing. They're dead trees, that are not being saturated with the living waters. All right, and immediately after that, I turned my phone back on again, and I had to go back and find these pics. I couldn't screenshot at the time because it didn't click, so I went back and screenshotted them. And so the second time that I turned my phone on, this popped up, which is, of course, a valley, and we know that we live in a valley of the shadow of death, which is America. And what you see right here at the bottom is the waters, the living waters. And I think that this, through the spirit, represents, the elect who have these living waters in this dry place, America. Okay. So that's what I took from that. So without further ado, I'm gonna get into the dream. I actually wrote it down when I got up because I didn't really understand how significant it was at first when I got up. But like 5 minutes later, I said, yeah, I need to go ahead and, write this down so I don't forget it. So let's go ahead and jump into it, because we head into some very serious times, man, all right? So the title of the dream is called A Storm is Coming, okay? And again, I had this dream on October the 5th, 2023 at 4:29 a.m., all right? And so it starts off with people who were outside drinking and partying, and it looked something like a block party, and everybody was in the spirit of mirth, and suddenly a storm with thick clouds from a distance started making its way toward the party, all right? And this place that I was at, the apartments that I was looking at, it looked just like my old apartments. There was nothing but Jake's there, man. Jake was, pretty much in the spirit of partying, as you see today. And so it says, again, and everybody was in the spirit of mirth, and suddenly a storm with thick clouds from a distance started making its way toward the party. And the mirth and joy people had turned into panic and chaos. And the wind started gusting and blowing harder as they came. And the sky that was sunny became extremely dark. People were caught off guard and tried to seek cover in their homes. All right. And as you can see, I got their comfort in parentheses, which represents their idols, because when this storm came, it was suddenly, man. And of course, in a time of trouble, people seek to their idols, they seek to their comfort. So let's continue reading on. It says, but when the storm came, their foundations were being moved. See, their foundation of their homes or the idols were being moved, like the buildings slid and then crumbled under the winds, and you could feel the Lord's anger in the storm. People were terrified and screaming, and about the time I got into a building, I immediately woke up like 10 seconds before the alarm went off, and it was around 4:29 a.m. Okay, so once all this started transpiring, the people were going crazy, of course, panicking. It became really dark outside, and people were seeking for shelter. And I ended up going into a building, seeking shelter for myself. And, I didn't stay up long enough to see what happened, but I do remember inside of that building that there was like an entrance to an underground, like a cavern or something. And I don't remember going into it. I didn't go into it at the time, but in the spirit, I do think that represents the secret place of the Most High, all right? A shelter from the storm, see? So that's going to be the secret hiding place of the elect in the time of trouble, because there is a storm that's coming that people are not expecting, all right? As the sun is out now, people are able to do as they will. Those days are going to abruptly, coming to an end once the Lord brings his dark cloud over America, all right? And I'm looking at a hawk right now through the spirit. Yeah, looking at a hawk right now, Salakia. But this is what the Lord, gave me in a dream. Is that you're gonna have people out here, man, who don't know what the hell is going on. They're stuck in this spirit of mirth, and they don't think that trouble is coming. All right, the scripture speaks about, as in the days of Lot, they were eating and drinking and giving in marriage until Noah went into the ark, and the Lord closed the door, man, and that was it. So let's read this again, and we're gonna filter through the scriptures. All right, so it says people were outside drinking and partying, and it looked something like a block party, and everybody was in the spirit of mirth. And suddenly, a storm with thick, dark clouds from a distance started making its way toward the party. And this storm represents, of course, Jacob's trouble. All right, it represents the wrath of Yahweh Bashmal Shad is going to start with Esau. All right. Let's go to Matthew, I believe the 7th chapter. And we start at verse 24. All right, the two foundations, okay? So there's two foundations that you can build off of in this truth, and that is on Yahweh Shai, or you can build on sand, which is going to crumble. And when you go back into this dream, all right, let's read it one more time. It says, right here, it says, and everybody was in the spirit of mirth, and suddenly a storm with thick, dark clouds from a distance started making its way toward the party, and the mirth and joy people had turned into panic and chaos. It says, and the winds started gusting and blowing harder as they came, and the sky that was sunny became extremely dark. People were caught off guard, and they tried to seek comfort in their homes or their idols, but when the storm came, their foundations were moved. See, their foundations or their stability, their doctrines were moved, like the buildings slid that they were in, right? And then crumbled under the winds, and you could feel the Lord's anger in the storm, man. Okay, so let's go back to Matthew 7:24. It says, therefore, whosoever heareth these sayings of mine and doeth them, I will liken him unto a wise man which built his house upon a rock. All right, the house represents your mind. Okay, and that rock, of course, represents our Lord Yahweh Shai and his doctrine. It says, and the rain descended, and the floods came, and the winds blew and beat upon that house, and this represents trouble, mainly Jacob's trouble. All right, So they're going to beat upon that house or your mind. It says, and it failed not, for it was founded upon a rock. So the ones who dwell in the safe place of the Most High, you know, in the house of David, but when these storms start to arise, when a day of darkness comes, that house is not going to be thrown down because of its foundation. And that goes back into this doctrine that we have a great millstone in which it stabilizes us. It gives us a sure foundation, you know, a preparation for the storm that is coming. Meanwhile, everyone else is building on a weak foundation, as we're going to read. So 26, and everyone that heareth these sayings of mine and doeth them not shall be likened unto a foolish man which built his house upon the sand. And that's what it's saying, like in that dream, you know, because the foundation of those houses literally started sliding. It was like a landslide, and they would crash into each other, and they were crumbling, you know. And these apartments look like my old apartments that I used to stay at with number Jake, you know. So that represents these different doctrines and ideologies that these people subscribe to, you know, being cast down in that time. So this is the preparation right now to build your foundation on something solid. And the only foundation that's going to be able to stand in that day is Yahweh Shai. Building upon Yahweh Shai, you know. This is what we're working towards. The house of David. Okay, and I'm still looking at this hawk over here, you know, which is all spiritual, Slakia. And so again it says, and the rain descended, and the floods came, and the winds blew, and beat upon that house, that mine, and it fell. It gave in, man. And great was the fall of it. Right? And so this represents the ones who are in the spirit of mirth, the foolish virgins, the ones who are not taking this truth serious. You look at it as entertainment rather than receiving these words which are able to save your soul. You know, these things are going to come back to bite the ones who are bullshitting, you know. So going back into this pick, man, all right, the 2/3, these dead trees of the southern and northern kingdom, you know, you Israelites are gonna perish in that time. That's what I get from this pick right here when I woke up. All right, these 2 dead trees in a desert with no living waters, bearing no fruit. Meanwhile, you got the living waters in this low valley, you know, who have the water of life, man, you know, the living waters. We're just talking about this truth, man. Which you're going to be preserved from these sad times. See? So for now, let's go to Isaiah, I think, the 4th chapter. And we'll start at verse 6. It says, and there shall be a tabernacle for a shadow in the daytime from the heat, and for a place of refuge, and a covert from storm and from rain. And what is that tabernacle talking about? It's talking about this truth. You know, as you read in Psalm 91. And 1, he that dwelleth in the secret place of the Most High, all right, shall abide under the shadow of the Almighty. And again, this is talking about security, as you see from the top, the title, security of the one who trusts in the Lord Yahweh by Shemal Shai. And how do you trust in the Lord? Well, by believing his support, which is likened unto you dwelling in a safe haven. Okay, as I said, you know, when I went into that house, there was an underground, it looked like a well, but you can tell that it leads to like a cavern, an underground cavern, you know, in which, of course, during the time of a tornado, you go underground and you seek shelter, you know, if you got something like that. So that represents a secret place of the Most High, and we'll see elect will abide there and will be safe from the storm and tempest. It says, I will say of the Lord Yahweh Bashmal Shai, he is my refuge and my fortress. See, we're going to flee unto Yahweh Bashmal Shai. right, the name of the Lord is a strong tower. The righteous run up into it and is safe. All right, my power, in him will I trust. Okay, and we can go on and on in Psalm 91. Okay, matter of fact, we'll go to verse 9. It says, because thou hast made the Lord Yahweh Ba'ashem Al-Shai, which is my refuge, even the Most High, thy habitation. Let's get this word refuge right here. Strong's H4268. A refuge, a shelter. See, from rain and storm, from danger, or falsehood. Okay, there you go. From rain or storm, and from danger, man. You know. So we're making Yahweh Ba'ashem Al-Shai our refuge, and that's us building our house on this foundation, this rock. Okay, it says, verse 10, there shall no evil befall thee, and neither shall any plague come nigh thy dwelling. Right? So this tabernacle of David is going to act as a hedge from the storms. When Esau comes in like a flood, you know, when the plagues commence, once the destruction happens, you know, we're going to be protected in those times. See? Let's grab one more and we'll close it out. Isaiah 25 in verse 4, it says, for thou hast been a strength to the poor. Okay, we're just talking about the elect. A strength to the needy in his distress. A refuge from the storm. See, a shadow from the heat when the blast of the terrible ones is as a storm against the wall. See, when the blast of the terrible ones is as a storm against the wall. So this storm that I saw represents overall Esau coming in like a flood, man. All right, that's gonna lead up into, of course, the missiles, but it's gonna start off with Esau wreaking havoc upon you Jakes, man. All right, a sword is being sharpened, and he's ready to make a sore slaughter. So this is what we should be meditating upon. The Lord hiding his face and letting this nigga loose in an unlikely time, man, because a snare is being laid and this devil's getting ready to make a move. So I just want to bring that out real quick. You know, the Lord put on my spirit to write it down and to take note of it and to do a lesson. So, you know, take heed. We all need to take heed, man. You know, we definitely in those times. So with that, Lord willing, you're edified. Until next time I say, Shalom. DTA in the Bible Ball soon.